So can you just tell us what you do for work?
My day job is that I work for, I'm a family support worker for families in emergency accommodation.
Right. Imagine if I was able to get this video to, David Cameron's office. Yeah.
Yes.
What would you have to say to David? Imagine if he was watching this.
I would say to David Cameron that when you sit in Parliament or wherever it is you sit, and you and your cabinet think up these plans to socially cleanse the society of poor people, you should take some time to think about how it affects them. They may not be important to you, but these are real people and families who are suffering on a daily basis on the ground level because of the policies that you've introduced in relation to housing and benefit cuts. And it's all very well for you and your politicians to say, well, I can live on that for a week, and you have cameras following you for a week, and you're doing it, but could you live on the amount of money or in those circumstances for 52 weeks?
And a lot of these people, some of them, have got jobs, right?
Yeah, not everybody that is homeless or in emergency accommodation is on benefits and scrounging off of society. Some of these people are married couples with children who work. Some people are stuck doing your 0 hours contracts and on these jobs that you shunt them off into to manipulate the figures to say that unemployment is down, but the amount of money that they have doesn't allow them to properly provide for their families. But they don't have a choice, because if they don't do that, then they're in a worse position. So I would challenge you to actually come and see some of these people, not the ones that you cherry pick so that you can see them on the news saying, oh, it's fine, but people like that I see every day. Their family structures are breaking down because they're not able to manage their children's schedules because everybody's sleeping in one room. There may be one room or double rooms, but we've got parents sleeping in the same room as their children. For 6 weeks they have to share kitchens and bathrooms, and families are in with people sometimes that they don't know, and that's not safe for their children. So if you have to go to a shared bathroom and a shared shower because you're immediately homeless, you don't know who is in some of these properties. And an example is I've had a mother who, a strange man walked in on her daughter in the shower, when they're in emergency accommodation. And that situation usually frustrates people who work more than the people who don't work. So if because your landlord is throwing you out because he wants to raise up the rent, or he wants to rent his property out to somebody who can pay more, and these people may have been living there for the last 5 years, and they kind of jump over the system and go straight to get, I think it's Section 21, to get them out of their properties. So a lot of people are homeless not because they couldn't be bothered to do anything, but because they're powerless to challenge what's happening to them.
Right. And basically what's happening, as far as I understand it, is that it's, I'm sure, no coincidence that house prices keep on rising, and that affects the rent.
Yeah, so with the capping of the benefits and the local authority housing allowance rates, landlords' rents are too high for people who are on a certain amount of money that has been capped. So that means that, effectively, that they can't live in London.
Right, so they're being actually taken out of where they live and sent to Huddersfield or...
Sittingbourne. We've sent people to Romford, and then we've had...
So they leave their family, they leave their friends, they have to leave, the children have to leave the school.
Yes, so for example, I had a lady she was placed in Shepherd's Bush, and she works in Bromley, and her daughter goes to school in Croydon, so she had to travel every morning from Shepherd's Bush to Croydon and then on to Bromley. And this is a working mother. She's a single parent nonetheless, but she's working, and her daughter is having to have her breakfast in the car and her dinner in the car and get home. By the time they get home, they go straight to bed. A lot of families, I've also worked with troubled families under the Troubled Families agenda. A lot of these families, they lose their control of their families while they're in emergency accommodation because a lot of their routines go out the window. So I think a bit more thought needs to be given to some of these policies that are put in place. Maybe these people don't mean anything to you, but they are people nonetheless. They may not have lots of money to do lots of things with, but these are people.
And you're just one, you're just one employee. There must be thousands of employees of both councils and charities all experiencing the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
So this is
the workers on the front line that have to deal with these people who are emotionally upset, who are depressed. A lot of people are on antidepressants. A lot of people just can't deal with the fact that they're all lumped up in one room all together. No
right.
privacy.
You've always got to look on the bright side. At least they're on antidepressants, which is good for the pharmaceutical industry.
Well,
which is supporting.
I know
I'm just kidding, by the way.
Yeah. I know a lot of people on antidepressants. I've seen a lot of people. I don't know if it's just a general trend, but there's a lot of families that are suffering because of these policies, and they feel a bit powerless to do things. And if you can't have a roof over your head, obviously there aren't many people in this country who are starving, but there are a lot of people who I'm having to give food vouchers to go to a food bank. And some of these people are on benefits. Some of these people may have recently lost their jobs.
And some of them may be working.
Some of them may be working, but they're on some of these 0-hour contracts or having to do night shifts in order to make sure that somebody can look after the children while they're at work.
Thank you.